Hello, everybody. Jupiter and Neda here from Space A. And today we have Ang Tsherin Sherpa Dai. He's a visual artist, contemporary artist, traditional artist from Nepal, American, Tibet. Dai, it's so complicated. Please introduce yourself and say hello to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me today. Yeah, I'm Tsherin Sherpa, an artist, and like right now based in Nepal, between Nepal and California at least. I was born here, raised here, and I went to America just about 20 years ago. And then since then, I think in the last like couple of years, I've been back and forth, and I have a studio here, and yeah.
So,
So
Dai, can you tell us like what happened? Where were you when the pandemic started? And what was your approach? What was your difficulties?
I was, I think I left Nepal on the 1st of March to go to the US because I had an exhibition there in Indiana at the Harron School of Art and Design. I was supposed to be there for 2 weeks for my exhibition, and we opened the exhibition on, I think, 13th of March or something like that. And then I was supposed to fly back on the 14th. And there was this government announcement where it said, I think there's going to be restrictions on visa, this, that. So being an American citizen and non-resident Nepali, NRN, even though I had this resident visa, I was worried like I may get, stopped here at the airport because of the pandemic. And I think they required some form of test, PCR test, for international travelers, except for Nepalis who are coming into Nepal. And it was impossible to get tests done at that time because I inquired my medical insurance providers in the US, and they said like it's impossible right now. We don't have test kits, nothing, unless you're seriously ill. And I asked the Nepalese embassy, and they said like, oh, since you're holding a Nepali, like a non-resident Nepali card, I think the announcement, even though the announcement has come out, like maybe you can go, you can travel back to Nepal. Uh, we can't say anything officially, but unofficially, I'll say that maybe you can travel. That's what they said. So I contacted the Qatar Airways, and then they also told me like they actually allowed me to fly. So then I assumed like everything is okay, so I flew into Kathmandu and then found out like they uh, seriously need the medical test report, and because I didn't have one. Uh, so they kept me at the airport for I think 15, 16 hours or something, along with a few other foreigners who had also flown in. There was a woman from Japan and somebody from Malaysia and a few other like UK nationals, Nepali UK nationals. So we all were like sent back to our respective countries. So I flew back to the US after that. Yeah.
Oh my God. So they suspect you as, no, they recognize you as a foreigner, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But then your family were here, right?
Yeah,
You were
my wife
alone in
was here.
US.
Yeah, my wife was here. I was flown back. I flew back to the US, and then I think I think there was a lockdown or something that occurred right after that.
Mhm.
And I think the day I arrived in California, flying back from Nepal, the day I arrived in California, I think they also announced on television that the curfew in
Mm.
California was going to start.
Oh
So
my God.
then I had to lock myself in yeah, so so then I think after 2 months, probably I think around 2 or 2.5 months, then there was a repatriation flight that was going from Kathmandu to the US, and my wife actually took one of those flights and came and joined me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So then how long you stayed there, and like when you were able to come back to Nepal?
I think I was there for about 9 months. My wife was there for about like 6.5 or 7 months.
Mm.
So altogether, in total, I think about nine or 9.5 months, something like that for me. So we applied for visa, I think, in November, and then we were able to fly in December with the test.
With the test. So, but during this whole time, your studio in Kathmandu, they were working, right? So you were
Yeah,
actually
no,
leading them from no. Oh, so the
not in the
all the
beginning when
jobs
the
was.
lockdown was. Yeah, everything was
Mm.
like. I think they reopened the studio sometime in September. So for several months there was nothing happening, and yeah, but it was kind of interesting. There was no work, but still, like I needed to take care of my assistants, So I was actually providing. I mean, I was yeah, helping them financially. At the same time, I was in the US, like conceptualizing my ideas for upcoming shows. And then I was having lots and lots of Zoom conversation. That's when I learned how to operate this. So lots and lots of conversation with the museums, curators, and other organizations. And but I think all in all, like it turned out to be something blessing in disguise, because before that, because everybody is so busy and caught up with their own like immediate uh, plans, that they many of the museum staffs or curators were not able to actually communicate with me about certain projects that we had planned for so many years. But because of the pandemic, because everybody had to stay home, they were able to bring these like issues forward, and then we actually, made some concrete plans for shows and for other things. Yeah.
ओके दाइ, अब यो समयमा दाइ अब नेपालमा त हुनुहुन्न थियो। यो
हजुर
नेपालमा भएको लकडाउन एन्ड यहाँ भइरहेको गतिविधिहरूलाई,
हजुर
इन्सिडेन्टहरूलाई कतिको अमेरिकामा बसेर पनि कतिको अब्जर्भ गरिराख्नु भएको थियो? कसरी त्यो इन्फर्मेसनहरू दाइले पाइराख्नु भएको थियो?
त्यो त
कसरी
एभ्री डे नर्मली मैले खास भन्ने हो भने समाचारहरू हेर्दिनँ, तर यो जबदेखि म अमेरिकामा फर्किनु परेको थियो, मार्चको 17मा म नेपालदेखि अमेरिका पुगेको थिएँ। त्यो दिनदेखि त एभ्री डे मैले न्युजमै हेर्थेँ क्या, के हुँदैछ के भन्दैछ। म आफै पनि अब नेपालमा यो स्टुडियो फेरि त्यो गर्नलाई सुरु गर्नलाई के गर्नुपर्छ, त्यही भएर मलाई त्यो कन्स्टेन्ट लाइक इन्फर्मेसन चाहिरहेको थियो। अनि त्यो माथि मेरो बुवा फेरि यहाँ एक्लै बस्नुहुन्छ, एक्लै त होइन, मेरो कान्छी आमा पनि हुनुहुन्छ, तर पनि अब फ्यामिली मेम्बरहरू नजिक छैन, अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि पनि अलिक चिन्ता लागिरहेको थियो के गर्नुपर्छ। अब जस्तै जनवरीमा मेरो बुवाको फेरि एउटा हिप फ्र्याक्चर भएको थियो, अनि त्यो गरेर हामीले सर्जरी गरेको थियो। अब मार्चमा यो लकडाउन सुरु भइहाल्यो है, अनि त्यसपछि त अब फेरि हस्पिटलमा त्यो फेरि रिचेक गर्नु जानुपर्ने इस्युहरू यस्तोहरू हुन्छ नि। अब त्यो एक्सरे, त्यो बोनहरू राम्रो एडजस्ट भएको छ कि छैन, त्यस्तो धेरै इस्युहरू थियो क्या। अनि त्यसले गर्दाखेरि मैले अब आफ्नो छेउको अब आफ्नो रिलेटिभहरू, उहाँहरूलाई फोन गरेर एरेन्ज गरेर यो गर्नुहोस् ऊ गर्नुहोस् भनेर सबै भन्नुपर्ने क्या। अनि त्यही भएको हुनाले पनि, अनि अर्को फेरि र नेपालमा पनि सिचुएसन के हुँदैछ भनेर बुझ्नको लागि पनि कन्स्टेन्टली म न्युज हेरिरहन्थेँ, अन्टिल द डे आई एक्चुअली फ्लु आउट टु नेपाल। Like every day, all news outlets, you know, I was like watching them. हजुर त्यति धेरै न्युज त मैले कहिले हेरेको थिएन.
अनि जुन किसिमको न्युजहरू आयो हैन, जुन किसिमको अब हामी त यही बसेर एकदमै नजिकबाट यो सिचुएसनलाई हेर्यौं. यो भन्दा अगाडि भूकम्पको पनि एउटा अर्थक्वेकको पनि एउटा सिचुएसन देखेको थियौं, जसले समाजलाई एक ठाउँमा ल्याएको थियो भनेदेखि यो जुन पेन्डेमिकको समयमा चाहिँ कहीँ न कतै हामीलाई इन्डिभिजुअली बस्न बाध्य बनाइदिएको थियो. दुईटा नेचुरल डिजास्टर जसले दुई किसिमको इफेक्ट हाम्रो जीवनमा पार्यो. अब यो किसिमको इफेक्टहरूलाई न्यूनीकरण गर्नको लागि बनाउन मेन्टल्ली हुन सक्छ, इकोनोमिकल्ली हुन सक्छ, धेरै एस्पेक्टबाट यसलाई त न्यूनीकरण अब हामीले गर्दै जानुपर्ने हुन्छ. अब यसमा चाहिँ कलाकारहरू पनि अछुतो त रहन सक्दैन, कलाकारहरू पनि इफेक्ट भएको छ. त्यसको लागि चाहिँ हाम्रो नेपालमा कस्तो पूर्वाधारहरू, कलाकारहरूको लागि चाहिँ कस्तो पूर्वाधारहरू भएको छ जस्तो दाइलाई लाग्छ? छ कि छैन त्यो पूर्वाधारहरू? छैन भने हामीले कसरी त्यसलाई डेभलप गर्दै जान सक्छौं त्यस्ता पूर्वाधार जसले चाहिँ यस्तो डिजास्टरमा चाहिँ कलाकारहरूको त्यो समूहलाई चाहिँ सहयोग गर्न सकोस्? दाइलाई के लाग्छ यसमा?
हजुर, यो चाहिँ यस्तो लाग्यो, अब मैले त्यहाँबाट हेर्दाखेरि म यहाँ त थिएन त्यो एक्सपिरियन्स गर्नलाई. अर्थक्वेकको बेलामा पनि म यहाँ थिएन, अर्थक्वेक भइसकेर मात्र आएको थिएँ, तर त्यसको रिपल इफेक्ट चाहिँ मैले फिल गरेको थिएँ. अब जस्तै अहिलेको टाइममा पनि हो, आइसोलेसन धेरै भएको थियो सबैजनालाई. तर एट द सेम टाइम मेरो कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ मलाई अलिकति के लाग्यो भनेदेखि हामी कहिलेकाहीँ यस्तो रफ्तारमा गइरहेको हुन्छौँ कि लाइफ भन्ने चिज भनौँ न, अब एउटा कहिले के यस्तो अवस्था चाहिँ कहिले आउँदैन जस्तो असुम गर्छ नि हामीले. अनि त्यो हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ हामीलाई एउटा सोच्न बाध्य बनाइदियो क्या, केही पनि हुनसक्छ. अब हामीले यस्तो पेन्डेमिक भन्नेहरू 19 कुनै कति हो कि 100मा यस्तो यस्तो भएको थियो रे, स्पेनिस फ्लू भएको थियो रे भनेर पढ्थ्यौँ. तर त्योलाई एकदमै आफैले एक्सपिरियन्स गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ के जस्तो लाग्यो भनेदेखि हुन त एउटा आइसोलेसन थियो, एट द सेम टाइम तर हामी डिजिटल वर्ल्डमा चाहिँ अलिकति टिल्ट भयो क्या. डिजिटल वर्ल्ड भनौँ न, यो इन्टरनेटले गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ एक प्रकारको फेरि एउटा समुदाय जस्तो, एउटा कम्युनिटी जस्तो पनि क्रिएट हुन गयो, जसले गर्दाखेरि अघि मैले पनि भने कतिवटा प्रोजेक्ट चाहिँ हामीले पहिला भनौँ न यो पछि गरौँला भनेर राख्ने चिजहरूलाई पनि अलिकति अगाडि सारेको जस्तो पनि लाग्यो. यो चाहिँ अहिले मैले एकदम पोजिटिभ कुराहरू भन्दैछु. अर्को पोजिटिभ कुरा चाहिँ के लाग्यो भनेदेखि अहिलेको आर्टिस्टको कन्टेक्स्टमा चाहिँ मैले के एक्सपिरियन्स गरेँ भनेदेखि हामीले चाहिँ आर्ट भन्ने बित्तिकै एउटा फिजिकल अब्जेक्ट जुन चाहिँ हुन्छ त्यसलाई मात्र हामीले एउटा सोच्ने हिसाबले गरिरहेको हुन्छ नि. अब अहिले त्यसले गर्दाखेरि अब हामी कति हल्लाहरू सुन्दैछौँ, न्युजहरू एनएफटी भन्नेहरू केहरू निस्किरहेछ. अब डिजिटल वर्ल्डमा पनि त्यसको एउटा भाइब्रेन्सी आइरहेछ. र मेरो विचारमा इन्डिभिजुअललाई यो भनौँ न नेपाली आर्टिस्टलाई पनि नेपालको कन्टेक्स्टमा मात्र नसोचेर हामीले एउटा ग्लोबल रिच पनि गर्नुपर्छ र त्यो गर्ने अपर्च्युनिटी पनि हामीले पाउँदैछ क्या. खास गरी मैले चाहिँ यसलाई धेरै नेगेटिभ तरिकाले त हेरेको छैन, किनभनेदेखि अब म अमेरिकामा बस्दाखेरि पनि त्यही आइसोलेसन भइरहेको थियो. आइएम स्योर यहाँ पनि त्यस्तै नै भइरहेको थियो होला. तर पनि एउटा चाहिँ के भयो भनेदेखि हामीले कहिले नसोचेको कुरा हुन्छ नि, डिजिटल वर्ल्डमा पनि हामीले रिच आउट गरेर एउटा कम्युनिटी क्रिएट गर्न सक्छौँ. र हाम्रो आर्टिस्टलाई त अडियन्स चाहिन्छ. त्यो अडियन्स चाहिँ हामीले जसरी एउटा फिजिकल स्पेसमा पाउँछौँ त्यही अनुसारको हामीले डिजिटल वेबाट पनि पाउन सकिन्छ. र हाम्रो मैले यसो हेर्दा अल इन अल आर्टिस्टलाई धेरै राम्रो भएको छ एक हिसाबले हेर्ने हो भने, किनभनेदेखि त्यो जुन चाहिँ एउटा बााउन्ड्री थियो नि, फिजिकल बााउन्ड्री थियो, हामी त्यहाँबाट बाहिर जाँदैछौँ क्या. र आर्टिस्ट, हरेक इन्डिभिजुअल आर्टिस्टले त्यो एङ्गलबाट हेर्न सक्यो भने मेरो विचारमा रिच अझै बेसी हुन्छ कि अडियन्स अझै बेसी हुन्छ कि त्यो चाहिँ अब मैले त्यस्तो एङ्गलबाट हेर्दैछु. अब यहाँ फिजिकल स्पेसको कुरा गर्ने हो भने त यहाँ मात्र होइन, अब सबै ठाउँमा फिजिकल स्पेस त बन्द नै थियो। जस्तै ग्यालरी सिनहरूलाई पनि के भइरहेछ भनेदेखि अहिले अब उनीहरूलाई यो अल्टरनेट एउटा बाटो खोज्नु पर्ने भइरहेछ। अनि हामीलाई चाहिँ के राम्रो छ भन्दा हाम्रो वर्क चाहिँ भिजुअल आर्ट हो नि त। भिजुअल भनेपछि त त्यसलाई भनौँ न जसरी भए पनि एउटा भिजुअल रूपमा दर्शाउने कुरा भयो होइन। त्यो फिजिकल अब्जेक्टलाई फिल नगरे पनि हामीले डिजिटल थ्रु डिजिटल वर्ल्ड वी क्यान एटलिस्ट लाइक एक्सपिरियन्स द भिजुअल वर्क्स होइन। त्यो हो कि जस्तो पनि लाग्छ। अनि योले जुन प्रकारको एउटा ग्यालरी सिस्टम, म्युजियम सिस्टम यो ऊ भन्ने एउटा छ नि, त्यसलाई नै अलिकति शिफ्ट गराइदियो क्या। And I think this is a good thing for artists because now artists are much more empowered. हामीलाई कस्तो छ भनेदेखि पहिलाको सिस्टम अनुसार एउटा ग्यालरी चाहिन्छ, एउटा म्युजियम चाहिन्छ, अनि त्यहाँबाट मात्र हामीले अडियन्स पाउँछ। डिजिटल वेबाट हामीले अडियन्स पाउँछ, यस्तो यो यतिको ठुलो ग्लोबल वेमा जान सक्छ भन्ने हाम्रो त्यो सोचै थिएन क्या। यो पुरानो सिस्टममा we are so caught up in our like old system which is about basically you know you have to have a gallery, you have to have a show, physical show, and you will have certain visitors, they will interact with the work, and then based on that even the museums like they have to have a like you know physical show मात्र भन्ने एउटा जुन चाहिँ सोच छ त्यसलाई अलिकति शिफ्ट गरे जस्तो लाग्दैछ। And that's my perspective from looking at it from the US त्यति बेला भनौँ। त्यो किनभनेदेखि त्यहाँ पनि त्यस्तै भइरहेको थियो। अब मेरो विचारमा नेपालमा पनि त्यस्तै हुन सकेको खण्डमा चाहिँ यो डिजास्टरलाई पनि नेपाली आर्टिस्टले एउटा अपर्च्युनिटीको रूपमा लिन सकिन्छ कि भन्ने चाहिँ आशा छ।
So Dai, you have started one artist initiative, right? Himalayan art. This was why you opened it, and actually you were disturbed. Yeah, the activity was stopped because of pandemic. So,
Awesome.
and I believe that you are going to start it again. So about that, a little bit, give us the information.
Azure. So what happened was after the earthquake, I came back to Nepal in 2015, August, I think. And we saw like many of these monuments, buildings, everything was destroyed, like 1,000-year-old temples, you know. So, and for example, in Kathmandu itself, like Kathmandu is a city of art. I see like all of these like ancient art, which is our heritage. And we grew up seeing this, we grew up like having these around us. And suddenly these were all like, most of them were affected because of the earthquake. And my father and I had like a very in-depth conversation at that time. So he was concerned like, these days, there are very few artists who have that type of caliber, that type of skill set to do restorations on most of these like monuments, art, whatever, you know. So he was also concerned like, you know, there are just a handful of people who can do this and people are not interested in doing this. Then यसमा solution के छ त? हामीले फेरि यसलाई revive गर्नुपर्छ होला. Another question was like, why has traditional art degraded to the point where it has become a souvenir art? अब आजकल त हस्तकला यताउता भन्यो भने त त्यो अब एउटा क्राफ्ट जस्तो भइसक्यो नि त। त्यो पुरै एकदमै क्राफ्टमा पनि त्यो हाई लेभलको क्राफ्ट होइन, एकदमै अब साधारण जस्तै भनौँ न बजारमा अब टुरिस्टलाई एट्र्याक्ट गर्ने क्राफ्ट जस्तो भइसक्यो। अनि त्यसको कमोडिफिकेसन र कमर्सियलाइजेसन यति बढी भएको छ कि अब त्यो क्राफ्ट्सम्यानशिप चाहिँ जसले सस्तो बेच्छ उसले बेसी बेच्छ जस्तो भइसक्यो क्या। इट्स टु द्याट एक्सटेन्ट। So I think I was romanticizing like what it was like that back in the days when all of these Krishna Mandir was made, Paspanna Jhal was made, you know, like custom mandap was made. Was it like that? I don't think so, you know. किनभनेदेखि त्यति बेलामा चाहिँ कम्युनिटीले पनि आर्टलाई एक प्रकारको रेस्पेक्ट गर्थ्यो. त्यो हाम्रो कम्युनिटीमा अहिले ल्याकिङ छ जस्तो लाग्दैछ क्या. यो ट्रेडिसनल आर्ट चाहिँ एउटा कमोडिटी मात्र भयो क्या, टुरिस्टलाई बेच्ने एउटा साधन जस्तो मात्र भयो. टुरिस्टले पनि बुझ्दैन, झिलिमिली देख्छ अनि त्यसको बेसिसमा उसले किनेर लान्छ अनि हो म नेपाल घुमेर आएको थिएँ, दिस इज अ सुभिनियर फ्रम नेपाल. एन्ड द्याट्स, to me, traditional art is not that, because it has its own function, it has its own, like, you know, it plays a huge role within the community also. अब जस्तै थाङ्काको कुरा गर्ने हो भने, when somebody is born, there's a thanka painted. Through divination, they say like, oh, what a particular painting has to be painted. When somebody is like कहिले काहीँ बिमारी हुँदाखेरि त्यो अब्स्टिकल रिमुभ गर्नको लागि कति किसिमको पेन्टिङहरू बनाइरहेको हुन्छ. अनि कोही फेरि खसेर गइसकेपछि त्यसको रिबर्थको साइनको अनुसार फेरि अर्को थाङ्का पनि बनाइन्छ क्या. सो इट्स एक्चुअली अ पार्ट अफ लाइफ, पार्ट अफ अ ट्रेडिसन, पार्ट अफ अ रिचुअल. So it's not just a commodity that is like, you know, to attract tourists. And there was this function and also this genuine like authenticity within the tradition, which has been lost. अब त्यसलाई हामीले कसरी रिभाइभ गर्ने अनि त्यही सोचेर, so my father was actually questioning me, like, you have been in the West for such a long time, isn't there something that you can think of? So then like it hit me, and then I went back to the US. I didn't know what I was going to do, so I just started talking to my close friends circle. Some of them are art professors, curators, you know. So this is how we gradually started thinking about it, and then started talking to the museums. And अब त्यो फेरि अर्गनाइजेसन लेभलमा काम गर्दाखेरि धेरै गाह्रो हुन जान्छ नि. लाइक वी हेभ टु सेट अप अ फाउन्डेसन, वी हेभ टु डु दिस, आस्क फर ग्रान्ट, दिस द्याट, एन्ड आइम एन आर्टिस्ट, जस्ट एन अर्डिनरी आर्टिस्ट. I'm very bad with paperwork, you know. Like, so the first thing what we decided to do was like hire some people who are good with the paperwork. So we just established a small organization. Now we needed students that we can train. Now we were looking out for like students. Ani body jasto aile traditional art ma interest garneharu sabai remote area ma hununcha ke. And it's very difficult. Like we have to provide them like lodging, food, everything. We have to take care of that. Like we have to bring them to Kathmandu, have them like, you know, have all the arrangements made for them. And त्यो पनि impossible जस्तो लाग्यो. So then what I found out was like many of my assistants, many of actually Thangka painters from like the Himalayan regions are not fully trained in their traditional craft because of like financial you know, shortage or whatever. They would come from the village to Kathmandu to study Thangka painting. They would apprentice with somebody for 5 months, 6 months, learn how to apply colors. And then immediately they would go look for a job so that they get paid. So there are many, many Thangka painters like that in especially in Bodha. You know? So then I just recruited some of my assistants. And we decided that maybe we will first train my assistants. 6-7 जना थियो, उहाँहरूलाई रिक्रुट गर्ने र त्यसको साथसाथै 1-2 जना स्टुडेन्टहरू बाहिरबाट को आउन चाहनुहुन्छ उहाँहरूलाई पनि हामीले इन्क्लुड गर्ने. So this is how we started. अनि हामीले एउटा ट्रेडिसनल थाङ्का पेन्टर हु इज अ प्र्याक्टिसिङ थाङ्का पेन्टर इन अ मोनेस्टेरी, उहाँलाई बोलाएर अनि ट्रेडिसनल थाङ्का सिकाउने, एकदमै सिस्टमेटिक तरिकाले ट्रेडिसनल आर्ट सिकाउने. तर simultaneously we will also provide them different types of informations. जुन चाहिँ अब आर्ट सिनमा के हुँदैछ, आर्टमा के हुँदैछ, यो प्रकारको इन्फर्मेसनहरू पनि हामी ग्रेजुअली, because it'll be too shocking. Information is also, it's also very important for one to provide information in a very skillful way. Otherwise sometimes it will just shock them and then just, you know, nothing happens. So it has to be in a gradual manner. अनि यो हामीले बिस्तारै बिस्तारै गरेर उनीहरूलाई एजुकेट गर्दैछु एउटा त्यो भयो अनि अर्को साइमल्टेनियसली 16-17 अथवा त्योभन्दा अलिक मुनिको बच्चाहरूलाई एउटा आर्टको इन्भाइरोमेन्ट दिने सो वी स्टार्टेड डुइङ सम क्लासेस लाइक त्यही हाम्रो हिमालयन आर्ट इनिसिएटिभमा we would bring in like lots of children and then we invited Bharat Rai who was also teaching in some other schools and उहाँलाई अब हामीले कसरी चाहिँ बच्चाहरूलाई तपाईले आर्टको वर्कसपहरू गराउने इन्टरेक्टिभ यस्तो के भन्छ क्लासेसहरू गर्ने भनेर त्यो पनि सुरु गर्दै थियौं so we started that in October of 2019 and then we did that until like February and then yeah from March onward everything stopped.
So Dai, apart from being an artist, so you are basically human, I believe. So as a human in this period, so as an artist, as a professional artist, you get extra time to think about your projects that was postponed and all. But as a human, did you learn anything specific from this? Because you said like that's very correct that you said normally we are reading the books and we are coming from the Spanish flu, people died, or before that like 1/3 of community died, and but we never think that this can happen to us. But it really happened. It really happened. So I think each of us approach is different and we learn different things. That for me personally is very interesting to hear like what you learned from this.
For me, I think my lifestyle was becoming a little bit hectic. I think I was traveling a lot in 2018, 2019. I was on and off. I think I flew to New York, US like 4 or 5 times in a year. And then in between, I was also traveling in Europe and something like that. So sometimes it's also good to stop and think and contemplate. I was becoming a little robotic almost, you know, like moving too much. मेरो लागि चाहिँ त्यो चाहिँ एउटा contemplate गर्ने, still बस्ने, मेरो भनौँ न, as a human being or as an artist or as an individual, where I'm heading, what am I doing, and also spending some quality time with my like family, especially my wife, and that was very important. And also like thinking that I mean like एउटा काम भन्ने त एउटा चीज हो, तर at the same time एउटा human level मा पनि आफ्नो भनौँ न अब के भन्छ इन्टरनल कुराहरूलाई कसरी चाहिँ अब you know share गर्ने आफ्नो I think I got to spend a lot of quality time with my like wife, which wasn't happening before, and we did lots of things together. I mean, I can always say like you know this was happening, and I can brood about it and be sad, but I think I was always trying to look at the positive aspect of it. धेरै चीज यस्तो भयो तर यसबाट हामीले के सिक्यौं I think I always try to look the glass as half full rather than half empty, you know. So that's the kind of a person I am, and I think that's what keeps me moving. So I was always looking at the positive aspect of it. धेरै धेरै दुःख लाग्दो कुराहरू पनि भयो, मान्छे धेरैले ज्यान गुमाउनु पर्यो, धेरै चिनेकोहरूलाई पनि अब इम्प्याक्ट भयो फाइनान्शियली पनि हैन अब करियर वाइज पनि तर पनि I was always even in this like you know यस्तो बेलामा पनि हामीले आफूलाई कसरी sane राख्ने, how to keep ourselves sane, you know, so that we don't go berserk like crazy. So I think it was very helpful for me. अनि त्यो त्यस्तै positive राखेर होला.
No, this is actually very, very correct, because you know at first I also was thinking it's easy. I have my books, movies, and I will not feel any problem. But how to keep yourself healthy was coming to be a little bit hard. You know, that's very actually okay, because this is working for you. You
Yeah,
look at it as a positive side of it, and then it will help you to continue be healthy and doing it. That's actually very good, very good. So that we are almost at the end of our conversation. I thank you
awesome.
so much, really so much for talking
Awesome.
with us, accepting a request. If you have
Thank
any last kura, please please say
Askura,
it.
well, Askura, I want to actually thank you both for this opportunity to collaborate on this residency program. And I think Space A and Himalayan Art Initiative collaborated for the first time. And we had these two students like working together, and we're looking forward to their exhibition. And this has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And I'm sure the students will also learn a lot through this like collaboration. And hopefully we can do this again in the future. If not this, but other projects also, you know, like, and thank you for actually inviting us to get involved. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. So please, everybody, stay tuned. We are posting the exhibition poster of this fellowship, and then see you soon. Thank you so much. Bye
Okay.
bye.
Thank you. Bye.